That's what text paragraphs look like. They're just like wham, out of nowhere, you get all of these words just thrown at you. Have you ever felt the need to give somebody a piece of your mind by sending them a whole paragraph via text? Today, I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why those paragraphs are destroying your relationships, or rather 3 invisible ways that those paragraphs are destroying your relationships. But first of all, I'm going to tell you 3 stories to illustrate my points, and then we'll get to the 3 ways. First story. An old friend of mine was upset because I wasn't returning her calls, yet I was posting on social media. And she just immediately assumed that I was ignoring her and I was being disrespectful. So she sent me a few paragraphs to tell me exactly how she felt about my behavior. And the truth of the matter actually was that I was going through a very major life event that had left me depressed, and posting on my stories was my way of coping. So when she sent me those messages, I was hurt as well, and I also said some hurtful things to her via paragraphs. And obviously I apologized afterwards, but the damage was done. The relationship didn't survive. Second story. I was supposed to meet a guy who liked me for a first date, and I was supposed to travel out of town to meet him. Now, he wasn't giving me any details, and it was giving me serious anxiety because I like to know exactly what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, and where I'm doing it. So I chickened out and told him that unfortunately I wasn't going to be able to make it for the date because I wasn't, comfortable with not knowing what was happening. And then he sends me a message and he's like, well, I was expecting you to cancel, whatever. And so I sent him a whole paragraph letting him know exactly how annoyed I was. I vented, and gave him a piece of my mind. And in his response, he told me that my paragraph was giving him PTSD from his ex and a relationship that broke up. And so he didn't think that we should continue anymore with our plans to date or whatever. Relationship destroyed. Final story. I sent a one-line message to a friend of mine who hadn't responded to a previous message I sent. And he responded with a whole paragraph, which showed that he was annoyed. And I was shocked because I'm like, okay. But then when I went back to read my message, I saw that it could be interpreted as an accusation. So instead of sending back a paragraph, because I learned my lesson from 2 destroyed relationships, I calmed down and then I sent my friend a voice note explaining why I wasn't accusing him and I'm sorry that my message seemed that way. Relationship preserved. So, do you see my point? Now, I'm going to let you know 3 invisible ways that those text paragraphs are destroying your relationships. Number 1, they make the receiver defensive. There's almost no adult in the world who responds well to being attacked. And that's what text paragraphs look like. They're just like wham, out of nowhere, you get all of these words just thrown at you. They feel like an attack. And the first thing that comes to the mind of the average human being is counterattack. I want to defend myself. I want to push back. And it's not a healthy way to resolve conflicts, to be very honest. So if you feel the need, if you feel like you're in that space where you want to send a whole paragraph, first of all, calm down. If you're really, really upset and you feel like you need to just get it out of you, then write it down on a piece of paper or on a document and just calm down. And when you're calm, read it again and ask yourself, is this going to be harmful or helpful? And one thing that guides me now with relationships when there's conflict is, do I want to preserve this relationship? Do I care about this relationship more than I care about being right? Because if you want to save a relationship, if this is just a conflict, a temporary conflict that you want to work through, you have to go into resolving that conflict with the mindset that after this, I still want us to be friends, or I still want to be in a relationship with this person. And the way you will handle the conflict with somebody you don't want to lose should be different from somebody you don't really care about anymore. So you need to calm down. Whenever you feel the need to just write a whole essay, calm down. If you need to write it somewhere. Don't send it. And read it and ask yourself, is this going to be harmful or helpful? If after you've written it down and you've looked over it and you ask yourself, is this going to be harmful or helpful, you still feel the need to talk about this, to have this conversation, then call the person or send a voice note. Text paragraphs leave room for misinterpretation. Because it's a text, right? It's a bunch of words. The person can't see your face, they can't hear your voice, they can't see your body language, or rather they can't read your body language. It's very easy for you to be misinterpreted. Just like my friend said, I was accusing him when I was just making a random point about my message, it's very easy for you to think you just wrote a random bunch of words, but they can be hurtful to the person receiving them because they don't know how to interpret those words, right? And that's the thing with, and also because you're writing a lot of words. There's this Bible verse that says, in the multitude of words, sin is present. When you've said a lot of things, there's always something inside of it that you shouldn't have said, or you said the wrong way, or it might have seemed innocent to you, but to the person who's receiving it, it's just a trigger. So text paragraphs, because it's just all of these words that can be interpreted anyway, they're just dangerous to send. And finally, text paragraphs reveal resentment and pent-up emotions. The biggest issue with text paragraphs is that they show that you've been bearing your grudge all this while. Think about it. Why do you have so much to say if it's just about this one issue? It's probably not about this one issue. You're piling up a lot of conversations that you feel you should have had. You're probably making a lot of generalizations. You always do this, you always do that. That's how you did this, that's how you did that, blah, 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 blah. But think about it. Very hardly are text paragraphs about the issue at hand. They're about things that the person did to you from way back. They're about, annoyances that you wish you had spoken about before, but you missed the chance. So now you just put everything together in one message, and it just makes the person who's receiving feel like, oh my god, I thought we were cool all this while. I didn't know you felt this way about me all the time, and we're busy all the while, and you were laughing with me and we're having fun, but throughout that time when I thought we were cool, you were really thinking all these things about me, and it just makes the person question, okay, were you being sincere? Are you being sincere with me? How am I going to know in the future if when you're being nice to me you actually are upset? So that's another issue, or the biggest issue to me about text paragraphs, is that they just jumble everything together, and it's like you're trying to, kill a fly with a sledgehammer. So it's always better to just isolate issues. In fact, don't send a text paragraph and just isolate issues, right? Deal with what's the matter at hand, what's the issue at hand, what has the person done that you need to address, and just if you really, really look at the heart of it, not all the other things that you just feel like piling on, you can focus on the one thing, and it's ideal to not do that through sending a text paragraph. So you probably thought those text paragraphs were innocent, right? Well, they're not. They're hurting your relationships, and even if those relationships are not destroyed yet, by sending those texts, you're chipping slowly at the foundation of those relationships. I've lost 2 relationships because of text paragraphs. I saved one because I figured, oh my gosh, I do not want to make the same mistake. So who knows? If you just don't send that text today, maybe that relationship, that friendship has a chance of surviving this conflict that seems like such a huge thing, and you save yourself a lot of regrets. Thank you so much for watching. It was good to have you here. See you next time. Bye.